I've been sent many emails, as you know. Happy New Year, by the way, continuing the theme of 2024 with an optimistic slant. Let's hope that all that comes this year is good for us, although, of course, there will be a few challenges where we'll need to hold our nerve. Anyway, as you know, sent lots of emails, and I do try my best to get through them, and thank you so much for all of that. And, of course, your kind donations and comments and everything else. One email that was sent to me recently was a question of us making more of the decisions of what the government is trying to push towards us. Maybe that we should be voting for some of those policies. And there is this website, have a look at this, voteforpolicies.org.uk. I'll put a link in the description and you can have a little gander at it yourself. And it says here, it is time to close the representation gap. Unequal representation means unequal influence. If we act now to increase participation, our government will start to reflect more voices in the UK. And the good news is there is so much that we can do to make democracy work better for everyone. And it shows a graph there of those people in 2019 that voted and those that didn't. And it's almost a 50-50 split. 57% voted, 43% rather didn't, and that was in 2019. Let's see what else it says. Compared to policies, stay informed. Whose policy would you pick if you didn't know which party they belong to? Our unique policy comparison survey helps you see which of the main political parties you agree most with. You can make an informed decision when you vote. It's the best thing to reading the manifestos and no caffeine required. And the last bit here, sign up to our newsletter and what have you. So now this is how my correspondent, thank you very much, Sarah, for sending this to me, put it over that, it would be great, would it not, if, of course, you could see all the policies and that we, the people, had a chance to vote for those policies and make them something that we actually want. But I'm troubled even by that. Oh no, Richard, what is the matter with that? Surely that has got to be the right thing. Well, actually, in my vision of the world, and I'm going to put my hands up, I may be wrong, I'm not saying I'm an expert, this is only an opinion, you may disagree, we're all perfectly allowed to disagree, we're all grown-ups here, we can share one another's ideas and we can listen to somebody who has a different opinion and a different approach in life, all those caveats, get those out the way. But I feel, actually, the politicians are not there necessarily to dream up policies and say, we think this is what would be good for you. No, I disagree completely with that. To me, the idea is not that they dream up and say, here is a menu of stuff, pick what you want. I don't think that's the sensible way of working at all, because that's still giving them more power than they ought to have. I think we've lost our way. We have definitely lost our way. I believe it was C.H. Douglas speaking in the 1920s who said that democracy is upside down. The people themselves, the people, us, you, me, and everybody else, ought to be getting together in the parish halls and the town halls collectively, regularly, and deciding what we want for our lives. We are the mass majority after all. This is our land. We should be saying, do you know what would be good for us is this. What do you think? Having debates and speaking and getting people to talk about, everybody involved, from the lowest of the low to the highest of the high. All of us thinking about what we need and what we would like to see happen, whether that be cleaner roads, more rubbish collection, whether we need net zero, whether we want surveillance, whether we need the worrying technology of 5G that's been untested, whether we want more access to the land, whether we don't want to have so much set aside. Maybe we want more meadowland. Maybe we don't want quite so much technology everywhere. Perhaps we want more, all sorts of bits and bobs. Farmers growing locally, smaller, mixed farming, less pollutants, this, that and the other. Whatever it is, that maybe we, the people, ought to be gathering together and discussing this using local radio, the old-fashioned local radio to get discussion things going, and newspapers that we once had, that instead of throwing away our responsibility to the councils to make them have the decisions, or indeed the government, that we take back those responsibilities, that we decide, what would be nice? What about this system of, driving around at 20 miles an hour? Do we think that's actually a fair system? Maybe do we want cycle lanes all over the place? Or maybe we want this road closed and this opened, and what would be best for us? Now, I know there'll be a lot of argy-bargy, a lot of sort of people moaning and groaning and grumbling and complaining, and some people saying, but this is a bright idea. But if we can get on, as I say, if you can have differences of opinion, and instead of name-calling at each other just because you have a difference of opinion, and you say, actually, we want to look at both sides of the science, not just one science. Science is not fixed. We saw that with the so-called business with the virus that went around in 2022. In which there was one narrative, and if you didn't follow it, you were an idiot, or indeed with Brexit or any of these other things, that we want to hear both sides of the story and we can make up our mind. It should be the people that come to the decision, and in all of their little towns and villages and cities and what have you, they start to vote among themselves, get the democracy going, and then they invite the MP, the representative, who is only a mouthpiece, and say, look, this is the decisions that we made. These are the policies that we want to enact. Now go, MP, Member of Parliament, to the executive, to the House of Commons, and instruct our servants, the Prime Minister and the Cabinet Office, our servants, to go and do our bidding, to make these things happen, to make them happen. Use their so-called brains and influence and their think tanks to work out the best way to enact cheaply, favourably, honourably, the things that we want, the policies we want as the people. So although it's a great idea, this voteforpolicies.org.uk, that, in theory, the people can vote for the policies, we should be making them, not these people who are career politicians, who have not lived. Some of them not even got children. They don't really understand families. Some of them have only gone through certain types of schooling. And have come from perhaps big business. They've not toiled with their hands. They've not made things. They don't even have grannies and people that they care about anymore. That we need the real people of this world, the people who actually experience life, whether it be the hardships and the good ships, if that's a word to use. A cross-section of everybody should be making the policies for this world to make it a better place. We, as people on this land, we should be looking at the ways that we can make our lives better, that we can enjoy life, make use of technology for our advantage rather than letting it dominate us and control us and take our lives over. And we should be thinking the ways, how do we stop being penalised for parking in the wrong place, speeding a little bit too fast on a road that there's nobody here, being photographed by cameras, and when there's no crime, when there's no victim. We should be looking at this whole system of the legal system and working out how do we make this much better for us, introducing, for example, trial by jury. We, the people, lived the lives here and want to thrive and want to get on and want to enjoy everything and want to see things. Not these dead entities from the corporations who are there with their shareholders and their mysterious partners who are shuffling the money out of the country into different places and jurisdictions. No, we've got to be the ones. Surely, man creates a government to help him. The government is below man. We've somehow allowed this to turn the other way round. So I'm not sure that voting for somebody else who makes the policies is the right. We should be making the policies, and we should be telling them This is what we're instructing you to do. That's why we voted you into power, because we think that you lot are going to be the best administration to do our bidding and not the other way round.